We have time for a couple of questions, but I wanted to ask you a question first. So for the crush pad that's in the field there, is there somebody from the winemaking side of the company that runs that?
No, that's so I was talking about maximizing the use of your employees. That's all of our irrigators, a couple of our tractor drivers, myself, and 2 foremen.
Wow. Was that, and I shouldn't dig into your business, but was that an issue? That seems like a loss of control for the winery.
It would have been if we didn't do a good job.
I've got another question, and you can just deny. Okay. The Jackson Family Wines portfolio is a very diverse portfolio. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Some of the most expensive wines that are on wide distribution, and then also some very low quality stuff. Is this kind of technology, even just mechanical harvesting, et cetera, is this being applied throughout?
Not to the
Not yet.
Super high end, no.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think my opinion is the more we can adopt it where it makes sense, the more that will free up that labor and those hand items for the brands where it makes sense. There'll always be brands where it makes sense to hand pick. Whether you're in Santa Rita and you're doing a special Pinot, or you're in Napa and you're doing a super high-end Cabernet. The idea, though, is that you're not going to be able to have that for every single brand. So you need to start getting comfortable with the technology and learning how to use it, because it's only improving.
So there's a lot of integration here then. You got to have a lot of planning about what this is going to go into and where it's going to be down the road and how it's going to look.
Right.
Question? Yes.
The Enterprise Vineyard in Monterey, is it a success or is it still a trial?
Was it Enterprise?
In Monterey?
The Enterprise Vineyard.
Yeah, the Enterprise Vineyard Monterey's. Trial.
Panorama?
Success. Panorama?
Yeah, it's a success.
Well, tell me what it is, 3x3, 4x4?
Meter by meter. 400 and... Miguel, are you out there? 450, I think. All Pinot. Yeah, it's very successful for what we needed. We produce a lot of Pinot, and we needed some high-quality Pinot from that area. And it's not only just for the KJ brand, it's for other brands within the company.
When you started all this, that ranch was designed and planted for mechanization as much as possible. I remember those days. You didn't have a lot of experience with that going in. No. How did you find, what was the learning curve like for you?
The learning curve, when you plant a vineyard that's designed to be mechanized, and then you start obviously shifting away from older technology, you either learn how to make it work or you are asking for money to replace it. And what we've done successfully, I think, is learn how to make things work. So you saw the little valley bins. Mm-hmm. Obviously, going into the big trucks, we're not using those, but the nice thing about those is we have a whole bunch of them because that's what we used to use. Now we pick into those, we set them on the ground, so when the presses are full, the truck drivers can run to Cambria, drop a load, and because we have smaller blocks that are in different programs that are higher quality, so they go to the smaller presses and get treated differently. By the time they come back, the presses are open, so you're never really you don't have any downtime. So it makes sense to keep those. So what we've been able to do is successfully integrate the older with the new and make it work, just keep making it even more efficient. And there's some things we had to let go. At one point we had a bunch of wire lifters that Poulenc made that didn't work. So we had to scrap that.
I see that you're pressing the field. Have you guys explored basically a mobile instead of mobile presses in the field, as opposed to having all that permanent infrastructure that you showed?
Well,
and instead of going into a truck, the plank dumps into the press instead of into a bin that you then put on a truck to weigh that goes into a press is using a mobile press so that when the plank is dumping into your valley bin, it dumps right into a press instead.
Well, I understand what you're saying. So we've experimented with not into the press, but into your porta tanks for Pinot. So it's one movement instead of several. But for us and the amount of volume we're doing, it makes sense to have permanent large presses. We're only doing Chardonnay in the field. And we're looking, on a given night to do between 5 and 1,000 tons.
Yeah, so there's efficiency issues. Real quick, you had mentioned that you didn't think that the path forward was going to be custom modification, custom built.
And what I mean is I don't think it makes sense. You're not going to have a one-size-fits-all in vineyards because each vineyard is so unique and distinct, and everybody kind of has their own goals and their own wineries that they're selling to and their own quality expectations. But I think you're going to be able to leverage a lot of the technology to, build specific equipment that may work across several platforms, but it's never going to be like, we're not all going to start box pruning and using some of these machines. But on the same token, there will be technologies when it comes to planting that may be universal across a lot of vineyards.
All right, let's thank Bart.